Double hitter, double hitter.
We are getting ready to just have a super Saturday morning. I hope you guys are excited. We're excited about being here. We know this is a big day for Optavia in so many ways, as we're doing the launch this morning, and also as we're here on our regular Saturday morning community time. We are excited that you have joined us. Segued for a little bit, and we're going to jump right back into launch after this. So thank you so much for being here. I don't know about you, but anytime I get into this book, it's hard for me to put this down. The life book is okay, but the Habits of Health book for me is like mind-blowing. Just kind of really seeing how the physiology of the body functions and why we do what we do. One of the things we share, this is what I say to the guys.
By the way, who are you?
I'm sorry. Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm Patrick. And I'm not Tim and Rachel, right? They're not morphed into two people. But
and I'm Sherrie.
I'm Patrick. This is Sherrie, and we're excited that you're here this morning with us.
How long have we been here? We have been health coaches for 3 years, and we are so happy to serve you on this morning. And go ahead, honey.
Yeah. So I was just saying, when I get into the Habits of Health book, I share with my clients, I'd rather you read the book than eat the field. Again, I'm just being a little bit fictitious here, right? I know you have to eat, but it's going to push you to making sure that you're going to get the nutrients that you need for your body, and why the science behind what we have is so powerful, right? And so clients are like, yes, because the book for me is just awesome. This one thing I want to preface this by saying, Dr. A says, as we're in this, and thank you, Rachel, for doing a super job last week on the TEE. A lot of people struggle with this. This is the promised land. This is for folks that gotten to their, and if I hopefully I don't sound like I'm shouting at you, because I got this Marine Corps voice and I tend to talk a little bit loud, so hear my heart. But again, it's one of the things that Dr. A talks about on page 166. If you could mark that page in this book, right? Mark page 166, bunny ear the page if you have to. He says this, right? He says, reaching and maintaining a healthy weight is the most important gift you can give to yourself and those you love and care about. It is the foundation of optimal health and well-being. And without it, the mason jar cannot support long-term health. And then you could read on the other page the list of things that it gives you, why it is so important. So a lot of people come into Optavia because they're struggling with a lot of these things, or they don't want to do that. So again, I'm going to ask my wife to invite some people. Invite some people.
Good morning, everyone. Is this your first time joining us on the Community Book Club? If it is, can you give us a 1 in the chat? We just want to welcome you. If this is your first book club, give us a 1 in the chat. All right. And while people, okay, I see Terry. Congratulations. We welcome you today, Terry. As others are coming in, just want to say, if you have thought about what Coach P just said, what Dr. A, he quoted about the best gift that you can give yourself is optimal health. And I see someone else, Rebecca, good morning, we welcome you. And I just wanted to ask, as we're just talking as a family today, are you scared? How many can be honest and say, you know what, optimal health, getting to my healthy weight, healthy BMI, transition, it's a little scary. I was like that when I came in. So if that's you, put a 2 in the chat. Let me see if there's some people like me when I first started this transition thing, because I've gotten so accustomed to the 5 and 1. It was a little scary for me. So if that's you, I double dare you put a 2 in the chat. So we want to just talk with everyone and welcome those that are here for the first time. Go ahead, baby.
All right. So thank you, Debbie. Thank you for being here with us. So again, we're in element 2, part 2.8.
Roxy, Brandy, so
right,
they're talking to us.
right.
Thank
And so transition for a lot of people is not a destination, right? So when you think about transition, a lot of times I'm going to get to a place, and then what happens, right? And so what we find here in this section is how we can then continue to go to optimal life, right? So what are those things that you'd love to do that you can't do anymore? one of the things, and again, I pastor, so I like to make some analogies, biblically speaking. When the children of Israel were in the desert, in the wilderness, manna was good, but God didn't promise them manna. He promised them a land flowing with milk and honey. So we want to get to a place that we get to enjoy foods. And so there's a tendency to think that we are losing out, that we're missing out. We call that, anybody put it in the chat, what we call that? When you think that you're missing out, what's that? Talk to us this morning, right? What we call the fear of what? For the sake of time, FOMO, right? So FOMO is the fear of missing out. And what we're sharing with you is that you can live a life, you could enjoy the cultural foods that you like to do it, but now you're going to do those things in moderation. For those of us that have been here for a while, and now you're in optimization. My wife and I are in optimization. Again, Dr. A gives us a tool in this section of the book on how we can get to that healthy weight and how we could, again, grow in our health. Transformation, one healthy habit at a time for the rest of your life. So there really isn't a destination, right? And so it's important. So what happens is we tend to backslide when it comes to getting to a healthy weight. Why? Because we're not getting in those 6 fuelings or meals a day, every 2.5 to 3 hours, right? And so it's important for us, especially if you're working out. So I know some of us on here have gotten to, you've gotten to transition. Can someone, for just a minute, you're at transition right now and you are working out, or what does that day look like for you? And then I also want to kind of get some feedback from you this morning.
And as you're coming in to respond to that, I just wanted to share that we talked about FOMO, fear of missing out, and then I'm going to talk about JOMO. I'm putting it in the chat, the joy of missing out. Okay, go ahead, honey. So who would like to?
Anybody want to jump off? You're in transition mode right now, and what does that look like for you? I'm going to call you out, Julie.
I already transitioned 4 years ago.
I know, but tell me what that's like for you. What's that like for you now that you transition? How do you juggle that in your, now that you're not on you're tracking it anymore, right?
Yeah.
Track.
Well, I still track. What's funny is I was just writing on here, I'm tracking my fuelings and my meals and what time I'm having them. But a lot of what we want to move into after you transition is a next goal. And so that's something that I continually do in my life, is the next goal, because I want to be able to easily keep my body fat where I want it. And a key piece of that is exercise. And it's just one of the habits of health that comes after, right? And I mean, if anybody goes to their doctor yearly, doesn't your doctor ask you how much exercise you're getting? I mean, they always ask you that. And it's because it's important for your health as a whole. So we're not here for weight loss. We're not on a weight loss journey. We're on a health journey. And that's a big piece of it. So I happen to enjoy exercise. So a lot of what I do now with my food is I adjust it for my activity level for the day. And so that's key. And I tell clients all the time, you have to start thinking in this way of calories in, calories out. And you don't necessarily have to track every single morsel of food that goes into your mouth, because with this habits of health system, we've learned the 9-inch plate. We know that we need to eat every 2.5 to 3 hours. And we know what our portion sizes look like. And if you're doing extra exercise and you're trying to build muscle, then you can add some extra food on those days. But on the days when you're not doing those things, you just bring it down a little. And it's very easy to maintain that body weight for health. And so that's what I'm doing. And I think that it's really helpful as you transition to start thinking about, calories in, calories out. I'm using food as fuel. It's not an emotional attachment. It's not a social attachment. It literally is fuel. So I think about my day and how I can arrange that, what my activity level is, and I adjust my food likewise.
Thank you.
Sweet. Love it. Thank you so much. You said some powerful things in there, Julie. again, the tracking system that Dr. A gives us, he gives us an example right here that we could build on, right? It's a platform that we could use. Again, I tell a lot of people, I think a lot of people use Optavia as a crutch. Hey, I love this. I don't want to get away from it. And a skill to explore, but to increase more fuel after you've gone through the transition phase. Rachel, you got your hand up.
Rachel, we saw Matt and Jamie's hand was up. I'm not sure what happened.
Not sure.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I was just going to add that we were talking about this in the room before we opened the room, and I think it's what really has occurred to me is Dr. A is moving us, and for me, this is how I see transition or optimization is. When I started this program, like many of you, I was in an avoidance model. I just don't want this to happen. I don't want to end up on medication. I don't want to have heart surgeries like my family. I don't want to die an early death. I don't want to gain any more weight. If I could just not gain any more weight, if I could just make it stop. That's an avoidance model. And what I think is cool about transition and optimization is you get to start creating. And you start thinking, what more do I want to create? I'd like to have more endurance. I'd like to run an Ironman, right? So I registered for an Ironman at 49 years old. Like, I want to create something new, right? I don't want to sit around and manage what I don't want to happen. And I think that as a coach and a client, that was so clear to me in the deeper parts of the book is like, you want to keep avoiding or you want to start creating? And I love that we get to create. And I'm loving that about optimization. It's my favorite part of the program. And I hope that speaks to someone who may be avoiding and using this program to avoid what you don't want to happen instead of using it to create what you do want to happen.
Wow. So, I love the creation piece. One of the things that we learn, if you're like the outdoors, we learn about eagles, right? Eagles build their nest in such a way it's comfy for the eaglet when they're growing but after a while, they start to destroy the nest because they want to make it very uncomfortable for the baby that's in there, the eaglet, right? Start destroying it because there's going to come a time you're going to have to soar on your own. You're going to have to make the choices. And don't get me wrong, we will always be clients. And if you're a coach here, and if you haven't joined us in coaching yet, you're missing out so much. We're always going to be a client, and we're always going to coach this thing for the rest of our lives, sharing it with other people. And so Dr. A is like, you have this information readily in front of you. And again, if you're not spending time in the book, I highly recommend you just to kind of dive into that thing. You're going to find out like, wow, I've been missing out on this, because there's so much power here. And so there's the fear of launching, right? It's the fear of that eaglet now sits on the edge of the nest, which is typically built on the lofts way up on the side of a hill. And that eaglet is going to have to launch off of that thing. Dr. A says there's going to come a time that you're going to have to soar and see where this goes, because health is so much more than the number in the scale. I know for a lot of us, if you haven't gotten to optimization yet, right now we're striving towards getting to that first goal or that second goal. If you just started, it's my first week, I want to see what that looks like. But I'm telling you, we hear those of you, us who are transitioned, that is an excellent ride. And there's no restrictions to the things that you can enjoy when it comes to having a healthy body. And I love what Julie says. On the days that I'm not really putting my body through that really strenuous exercise mode, that I get to dial that back. I get to make those decisions for myself. And then the days that I'm going to the gym, I'm going to try to pack in some carbs. I'm going to pack in some protein, because I'm going to burn that thing out. I'm going to put my body into fat burn mode so I could get my body to do what I want it to do.
Hi, everyone. And I wanted to share why, when I started 3 years ago, why did I have fear about after I get to my healthy weight and beyond? So, the optimization mode, it's because I didn't have the education. I didn't know. In fact, on my health assessment, when my coach asked me, what do you consider your healthy weight? I didn't know. Okay, and then each one of us is different because of our different experiences and how we came in here. Some came in and they were already at their goal weight, and some of us, it was a struggle. And then some of us came in with medical issues, right? So for me, I just wanted to feel better. So at that time, my focus wasn't a healthy weight. I just wanted to feel better and look better. I wanted to be more confident. So I couldn't even absorb that then. However, as we get in, and I don't know if you can see my little Rubik's Cube, but these are the 6 macro habits of health. As we begin to conquer these one tiny step at a time and really focus on our habits, the weight begin to drop off. And then we have to now continue in the book and loving this community. And what I love about OptiV is that every point of failure, they've made a way of escape. So we have this community where we can get this education from the books, sharing with one another. And then we have the win calls. How many have been or experienced the win calls? They didn't have it when we came in. Can you put a 3 in the chat? If you have experienced the win call, any 3ers in the chat? If you, okay, great. All right. Clients, coaches alike, if you have not experienced a win call, say, so we have a double Saturday today. We have the virtual launch that's going on. That's why some people are not here. And then we also have this book club. The win calls are powerful. They're only 15 minutes. You're hearing inspirational testimonies and here in the community, just more people. And you're getting the life book, the education, 15-minute, and then we do breathing exercises, powerful affirmations, and then we're out 15 minutes, guys. So, and that's Monday through Saturday. So please, if you haven't experienced the win call, this is how we win, community coming together. I just wanted to plug that in. Back on.
And the win call drives you to the book, right? So we're going through the 26 elements that's in the book, right? They're driving you back to the book. So that you can say, let me get a little bit more about what it is that you're talking about.
Yeah.
So again, I could understand though, and let me say this, I could really understand why there could be some hesitancy to get into your healthy weight, because now we are tracking, now it's our responsibility to increase our fuels, right? So we're giving right now in the induction phase, we're talking about 800 to 1,000 calories. And all of a sudden, when you do your TEE, is like, wait a minute, 1,700 calories? And we're like, wait a minute, that's gonna make me gain weight. But I know, Julia, those of you that hit the gym hard, you could tell that your body is gonna burn right through that stuff. And so don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Get to that place in your health where you could do the things that you want to do. Some of you are runners. Some of you used to run. Some of you hike. Some of you used to do a lot of things, and you can't do those things anymore because, again, my knees hurt. And we know for every pound of pressure that we lose, every pound we lose off our body is 4 pounds of pressure off of your knees and your joints. So you're going to get back to that place where you're like, no holds bar. You're going to be going and going like the energy bunny and just really can't stop and get into that like gym rat mode that we call it, or, the running mode where you can't stop running. You're like Forrest Gump. You just keep running, right? And so whatever it is for you, set that goal there. I want to optimize, because again, when you get to that level right there, the things that you think you can't do is the things that you actually can do. Okay. And so we don't want to put a restriction on the things that you want to do. That's a diet mentality. Diet says you can't. In our program, we're saying you can, based on the knowledge that you have and the science that's predictable.
Yes, and I wanted to speak to Terry in the chat. I'm trying to keep up with the chat here. And when I asked, have you experienced the win calls? They're daily, Monday through Saturday. And she says, today's her first day. I want to congratulate you for choosing you. And as soon as you get acclimated with the food, showing that to your coach the first couple of days, I I really encourage you to jump on that 15-minute segment. And what's beautiful about the wind calls, again, it's morning and night, according to your time zone. So check with your coach on that. And we just celebrate you that you're here on this call for the first time and your first day. Congratulations. Go ahead, Coach P.
So if you have your books with you, I want us to look at this chart. Dr. A talks about the TEE, right? But there's also the BMR, and then the PAL, and then you got the TEF, right? Those are things right here. And a lot of times we don't recognize the basic metabolic rate and how powerful that is to our health, right? And I find that quite interesting, how powerful that gray piece right here, the BMR. Your BMR is super powerful. It's the biggest part of your day. Just breathing, all right, activates that. Circulation of the blood in your body activates that. Repairing of cell when we go to sleep activates that. So then we start talking about the macro habits that we coach through, drinking the water, digestions of food. All of these things activate your BMR. So when we don't understand, that's why our program is literally 20%, physical, right, in your induction phase, and 80% of that is your nutrition. So you can't miss out right now on any of your fuel. Fight for your fuels. Fight for, if you're in your midnight sleep at 12 o'clock and you're like, wait a minute, I only got 4 fuels in, do the night walk with the slippers on, down to the kitchen, get your shake. I'm kind of being a little bit specific again, but get those fuels in. So each of those fuels have 100 calories in there, right? And then we have, so that's 500. That's 500 calories right there from the fuels alone. And then your lean and green gives you an additional 300 calories. So we're at 800 calories in it, and maybe a little bit more, 800 to 1,000 calories in the induction phase. But we get to transition it. For me, I don't want to even tell you my number. I'm over 2,000 calories is what I need to be burning in a day, right? Just to kind of function, right, without gaining weight. So again, we're telling you that you can enjoy foods to the optimum. We just do it not out of, I think Julie said, out of emotional eating, but we are purposeful in what we're doing, what we're putting in our temple, what we're putting in our body. Because again, we only get one of these guys, right? And remember, Dr. A says, when you lose 10%, just 10% of your actual weight, 10% of that reduces the chances of sicknesses and disease in your body. So let's not, by 50%. So let's not make our body a house for sickness and disease, right? When sickness and disease is looking for somebody, it's not going to come to your address. Okay, it's going to be like, oh, that person right there is good to go. And so that's what we do. We're here just to kind of pour into you this morning. Hopefully this makes sense. Go ahead, Julie.
I just wanted to add one more thing, because I think that when you're on the 5-in-1, maybe for an extended amount of time to get to your healthy weight, you forget that you are eating all of the macronutrients, including carbohydrates, including fruit and starchy vegetables, and all of those things that you might not see on your lean and green plate, but they're in your fuelings. And so I think this was the biggest hurdle for me from moving from weight loss to optimization, is realizing that carbs are not bad, fruit is not bad. And you will begin to incorporate those things from the grocery store back into your day when you're taking fuelings out. So as you transition, you're going to begin to add food in from the grocery store, and you're going to remove fuelings throughout your day. You're not adding anything that you haven't already been eating. It's all in the fuelings. So my suggestion to every client is to, when you're eating a fueling, turn it over and look at what you're actually eating. Look at how much fat, how much protein, and how much carbohydrates. And you're probably going to look at that and you're going to be like, well, I don't know what that constitutes as far as grams. I don't know what that equates to when it comes to the grocery store, but you will learn that piece over time. But it's important to train your brain to know you have not gotten rid of carbs. just because they're not on your lean and green plate. Okay. As far as healthy carbs, your vegetables are your healthy carbs on your lean and green plate. But there's a lot of other things that are in those fuelings, fruit and starch and things like that, that your body actually needs. Just remember that, because as you transition, you might get scared of carbs. You might be like, oh, I can't add that piece of whole grain toast. I'm going to gain weight. And it's just not true. As you transition properly with your coach, it is a process, and just train your brain now that it's not a bad, those are not bad foods that are not on your lean and green list. They're just not going to be something that we're going to have you managing the input of during your weight loss phase. You're actually getting it. It's just coming from your fuelings.
Great. Thank you for sharing that. And I wanted to share, when I asked who was afraid of transitioning initially with 5-in-1, I wanted to share because I didn't understand the concept. And then too, mindset, one of the 6 macro habits of health, it's mindset. This is why it's vital to spend time in the mental gym. Dr. A mentions that on page 30, right out the gate of your life book, page 30, the mental gymnasium. Why does he say that right off the bat? Because once we start feeling ourselves and coming into ourselves, then guess what? Ooh, I got this, coach. Thank you, but I got this. I'm good. I'm good. Guys, the winning components of Optivia is coach, community. And what's the other 2? Patrick gave it away. The education, the transformation system, your life and habit of health book, and the nutrition. So when we don't spend that time with our coach, we are now reducing from a 100% program to 75. And then if we're not in the books, then now we're 50%. Reducing it again to 50%, and so on and so on. Transitioning, and I have to share this, a lot of times clients think that, oh, I'm at my goal weight, and they start ordering 3 and 3 and no, this is why you got to meet with your coach. We're here to guide you through one healthy habit at a time. Back at you, honey.
Yeah, I love this. This is powerful. This is good stuff right here. One of the things I think Dr. A says that, you can't trust you a lot of times when it comes to food. Anybody know what I'm talking about? You go somewhere, you see something that you really like, and you're like, I'm gonna get that, right? So Dr. A is saying, even to the salad dressing that you put in on those salads, once you get to transitioning, we have to look at the macros on that stuff. Again, we're not counting macros right now. Julie made it quite clear. Everything that we need in the 501 is in that. Trust that to the T.
Yeah.
It's just that when we get to the transition phase, that we want to go from, I got to my healthy weight, let me go do the things. Now that's mental gym, and that was a powerful piece. Mental gym is, wow, I got to my healthy weight, let me go eat whatever I want to. That's a diet mentality, guys. And so what we're doing is we're transforming one healthy habit at a time for the rest of our lives. And are we going to make choices that don't serve our goals? You bet you are. You're going to go to a Cheesecake Factory and get the Snicker bar cake, right? You're going to get that stuff. You're going to do that. Well, here's the thing. When you're in fat burn mode, your body burns right through that stuff. I'm testifying, I've had the cheesecake Snicker bar thing before. Thought the next day when I got on the scale that I was going to gain weight, I actually burned right through that stuff. So again, don't scare yourself into thinking, I'm so restricted, I have handcuffs on. Dr. A saying, I want to take the handcuffs off of your nutrition, and you make those decisions based on the information that you have. So there's a process to transitioning, right? There's a process. We add 1 serving of veggie the first week, and then the next time we go into the charts right in 329, and then we add more. And Julie was saying we're going to add, but remember, some of these fruits aren't created equal. Be careful of the kind of fruits that you're eating. Some are higher in sugars than some are, and berries are great source of antitoxins. Look at those things. Watermelon may be good for you. A lot of people like watermelon, but again, we need to check how much watermelon you can have. Strawberries, berries are good for you, but again, check on those things. So again, once you have the knowledge developed from the transformation, from the Habits of Health book, you're going to do phenomenal. And so don't get scared about getting to transition. Julie, you said something, and I want to leave on this. If you don't trust the process, you're going to be in the induction mode a whole lot longer. And what may happen is you may use the 5-in-1 as a binky. Hear what I'm saying to you? You may use the 5-in-1 as a binky and saying, I don't want to transition because this is what I know. And now it's time for us to kind of rip up the nest. And so, guys, come on, let's move. Let's challenge you. Let's set another goal. That's why the coach is here to help you press through that mindset, right? If you've ever ran a marathon before, the 26th mile is a wall, and a lot of people don't make it through it, okay? So this is something that we are offering every client that comes. Is it going to be easy? No, it's not. And that's why we have a supported group such as the Nourished Community, such as the Contender Community, all of the things that we have in Optavia, the wing call,
and
all of
Monday
those
night community calls. It's for our benefit and growth. And just to piggyback off something you said, honey, we don't, the average time. Can anyone share with us in the chat real quick? I know we're out of time and most of us want to jump back to the virtual launch. What's the average time that a client is in the introduction? Can someone share that? If you know it, drop it in the chat. What's the average time in the induction phase?
it should be.
And if you're
Depends on where you are in your health.
and unless you have a lot of medical situations like I did, but what is the average time that we're in induction? Does anyone know? You can drop it in the chat. Okay, the average across the board. Okay, someone got it. Okay, yes, it's 12 weeks. Okay. However, if you have a lot of medical issues,
Or your
that's
weight.
that's gonna vary from person to person. So stick with your coach, stick with the community. We hope we served you today. Thank you for all the shares. And like me, don't be a scaredy cat. And I share this with all my clients. Let your first goal weight, and if you don't know what your first goal weight is, it's 155 life book. Ask your coach to go through that with you, 155 life book. And once you get that information, I often say, let it be your first, because once you transition and we tend to go up and fluctuate, most people 5 to 10 pounds. So if you go down a little bit, you're going to see that it works. Okay, so blessings to you. Honey.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us this morning. You guys have a super day. Hopefully we brought some value to your journey, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.